Hello, everybody, and welcome to Western Oklahoma Sports Night. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog, here with you on a Wednesday evening with my partner in this endeavor, Sports Director from Wright Media, Luke Clement. Luke, how are you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you, Chuck? Glad to
Doing
be
well,
here.
man. Just no big fires today. There was a fire out west of where I'm at, but all seems to be okay. And Channel 9's on the coverage. So, we still got a few days left, and hopefully people are taking, their grass fire precautions. But
Thankful to the firefighters.
yeah, thankful for Kenny McGuire and the Thomas Volunteer Fire Department there here in town. And he is part of the voice of Thomas Terrier football. But, it's that time of year, Luke. And I remember last year when we were at the state tournament and it was 70-mile-an-hour winds and power outages at the big house. And then we tried to drive home and there's just fires everywhere. It was almost real.
That was right around when that fire was like in the Hammond area, right?
I think
like
it
the
was.
Same time.
Seems like Beckham County and Roger Mills County always kind of have the same spots that I think Berlin, something out that way has been kind of a tinderbox in the past. But yeah, Hammond, and that's just, it's such a wind tunnel. But man, we sure appreciate the firemen and all the people that get out, public safety that get out and take care of things like that. But we've got playoff basketball, man. I'm going to get started on Saturday, and you got started last night. And we'll talk about Hydro Eakley Bobcat and Lady Bobcat basketball here in a little bit. But one thing, and I want to send out an apology, is and I got the text late this morning by this young lady's mother, but I missed out on this young lady's college signing at Weatherford High School, and I do apologize for that. And just kind of my fault, got kind of tied up, but she agreed to come. She agreed to give us a little bit of grace, Luke, and have her on the show. Let's go ahead and talk her here. She is Dasia Givens. She's a senior guard for the Weatherford Lady Eagles basketball team. Dasia, congratulations on your letter of intent signing with Southwestern Oklahoma State.
Thank you, guys. I'm really excited.
It looked like you had all your family there with you, and a big event today there at the did you do it in the event center?
Yeah, they're in the Performing Arts Center. Yeah.
So I got it confused. Pack and Peck, Pioneer Event Center, all that stuff. But we did see the pictures, and I do apologize for not making it down there, as I missed your game last night also. So I'll make it up to you in the playoffs, I promise.
Chuck is slacking.
I know it. Trying to be a good husband here. But no, we got you covered last night at Clinton for the girls and boys games with Jake Mills and Jared Jones. But we'll ask you some questions now. And Dasia, I called your games as a freshman. I remember a game winner in the Weatherford Classic you had against Piedmont. Last second 2-shot from the left elbow. I remember it clear as day. You may not, but I do.
Oh, I do. And my dad's heart attack on the sideline too. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah. Oh. And then, your dad and your mom take jobs at Duncan, and you become a Duncan Lady Demon for 2 seasons. Talk about what it was like to compete down there and also in the 5A classification.
It was a pretty big jump at the beginning. I would say 4A is probably the most competitive class out there. Like just ranging like your top 20 teams. Those in 5A, there's usually like a chunk of like the top 10, and then like below that, there's a pretty big fall off between like competition. But 4A, it's kind of competitive all around. But 5A, bigger schools, bigger girls. Yeah. We were playing teams like class like Del City, Midwest City, all of them, and they were big girls. So it definitely I had to, and I stepped up into a larger role than when I had just left that freshman season. And so there was a lot of change, a lot of adaptation sophomore year for sure. More of a leadership role, because also, those girls were getting a new coach, and my coach was coming with me. And so kind of just showing them how he likes things, how things are done, and then stepping up into more of a leadership role. And then I think that was a really good experience for me, as I've taken on more accountability and responsibility each year as I've gone. And then obviously I would say peaking this year in my expectations, and I've played the largest role this year than I ever have. So, yeah, all good things. Definitely all working towards getting an opportunity to continue to play at the college level. So,
Yeah. Luke?
Deja, I have to second Chuck. Congratulations on the signing to SWOSU, and apologies that I wasn't able to get down to the high school today. But like Chuck said, you spent the last 2 seasons at Duncan. What was it like coming back to Weatherford, being able to spend your senior season here?
um, it was it was a nice breath of fresh air for sure. Definitely felt like coming home. Here also, like I didn't or when we went down there, we kind of took weightlifting with us. At Duncan, they had a weightlifting class, but it was for the football boys, and girls didn't really lift, and so we went down there and kind of brought it, kind of tried to incorporate it. My dad ended up teaching a few classes of them, but it was mainly the younger girls, and so we were trying to build a culture there. Um, and it just wasn't really one that was really being received well. It wasn't really one that wanted to be built. So that was kind of hard for me because I had come from a place where, you know, like everybody lifted, everybody like that was what you did, like that was part of everything, and it would definitely reflect onto the court, like you could tell, faster, stronger, quicker, um, and so that was kind of hard, but it was also like um, definitely made me stronger as an individual because it wasn't normalized, and so it was something that I had to take on myself and make it a priority. And so then, like when the girls wouldn't be in a class, we'd lift after practice, and so I'd lift twice a day. I'd lift in the class and then practice and then lift afterwards. So um, it was hard at the beginning trying to start a culture that didn't really want to be received, but definitely a lot of character development on my side. So take your wins where you can.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I would be remiss for not mentioning you're a multi-sport star athlete. You shone in volleyball this last fall, and then I'm ready for seeing you take over that center back spot or maybe a sweeper spot for Weatherford Eagles soccer, because I would have liked to have had you on that back line in that finals against Oologah. I'm not gonna
Right.
lie. So anyway, we missed you while you were gone. I still remember, and I'm just gonna go down memory lane most of the time, but I remember the 25 yarder you put into
Against
the line
Clinton.
against Clinton.
Yeah. Yep. I
Get,
remember that one.
get into the quarterfinals or semifinals, one of the two. So some good memories of your freshman year. I wish we could have had you here for your junior and sophomore year, but it's been great having you here for your senior year. And your basketball team, and you are the leader. I mean, it's evident in the play, and you've got two fellow seniors that are also good leaders as well. But there's been some ups and downs on this season, but it seems like you guys you went through a meat grinder, but now you're kind of back out on the flip side, and you're seems like I'm sensing a little more confidence than you had even before, like January.
Yeah, for sure. To start the season, yeah, we had the one loss to Jones for the most part, and then later on to Bishop. But um, one thing we were telling ourselves is, I guess we are winning, but and it was important, like, because we started off in rankings at like 17 or something, and rankings, like for the most part at the beginning anyway, usually rely heavily on just the school's name of like, past teams and whatnot. So at the beginning, it was important for us. We wanted to get our name out there and prove like, hey, we're a top team. Like we deserve to be up here, and so our record helped us with that. But then also, uh, coming back from Christmas break, we knew it was a tough lineup, and we knew like, yes, those were wins, but like the quality of the win, like how good was that other team, like how competitive was that really, like were we getting better, um, and so it was important for us to try to replicate that in practice and make practice harder and games easier type thing, but we didn't really put that into action. We kind of got a wake up call coming back from Christmas, and it was one that I would rather have had in the past and
Yeah.
had it now rather than, this weekend or next weekend. And then it's like, oh, maybe we're not as prepared as we thought we were. So those losses there, like, the Kingfisher loss, that was a tough one. We just didn't come out ready to play. Like, we outscored them every other quarter but the first. And so that was like one, like, you know what? And after that game, we changed our warm ups. You were like, you know what? We weren't ready to go. Like, we got to fix it. And then other losses like Alva, like those sting because like you lead the whole game, and then but then we also have to remember they're an experienced team. They're a state tournament team year after year, and so like over time, games like that, like those are important to have. They're good experience, and then like Elgin and Tuttle and stuff like that, they come out in a different defense that we like haven't seen or we're not ready for. So now, each time it's just you take something away from it and get better. And I would say we're more mature and more developed because of them. So
yeah, Luke.
I know, Deja, my job with the radio station, recapping games and stuff. When I get my clip and I get to the end of the game, and it's like, well, how many points did Deja finish with tonight? How do you just find consistency and able to get to your shot each night?
Well, there for a while, or like so in the past at Duncan, like I was our 4 or our 5 at the time. Like I was our post girl. Like I got my paint points. Like that was me. If I didn't have a shot, then it was a kick out. And so this year that was, and then freshman year, you have the Hoffman sisters out there. You have Kennedy Stewart who just owns the paint. Like so, I was a role player freshman year, and then I go down to Duncan, and like I said, they didn't lift. Like I was our big girl. And so then I come back, and it's like, oh, never mind, it's all of it. So it's really just kind of just trying to take what comes easy, and not really like. I've tried to switch from a passive mindset to more of an active mindset, like look to score first, but really it's just what's open first. And sometimes that's Talon on a kick out or Ella on a dump, or that's me taking the shot. But it's definitely the confidence for sure has come from just practice, like, preparation. Another great thing about here is like I get a chance to shoot for half an hour every day during our Eagle time. And so that's shots that I got up, and that adds up over a season, over a year, that adds up. And so just rep after rep, especially in our home gym, there's all those people yelling and everything, but I don't hear any of that. I just see myself shooting in a quiet gym of like, I've taken this shot 100 times, 1,000 times before, and I know it can go in. So
yeah,
just trusting myself, trusting my teammates to, be ready when it is open, when that's the shot that needs to be taken. So
yeah, and that Alva game was a overtime game, and you had 31 in that one, if I remember right. And then it was a quick turnaround, but you guys came out and really put the clamps down 2 times this season. The Anadarko game, which was the second night of a back-to-back on the road, and then also that Hera game in the semifinals of the Buckle of the Wheat Belt Invitational. You held the Lady Panthers to no points in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's a number. That was a high-ranked team at the time. You guys now are both ranked 9th, I guess. But you talk about your effort and how you kind of lead the defense for this Lady Eagle squad.
Like I said, just different roles this time. So in the past, I was used to guarding a post, and now sometimes I'm the one that needs to pick up a point guard. And so, kind of just doing whatever it is that needs to be done. Rebounds have always been a big thing for me, like get the board. And so just putting myself in a good position for that. And then also communication is a big thing for me. Just whatever I see, like sometimes I say too much, and I know there's never too much, but sometimes I think I say too much. But it's just like, if you see something, say something. And I feel like I see the core a lot. And so, I'm saying a lot out there, and just and we've gotten really close. Like we work really well together. And so just saying what I see, and then just trying to put myself and my teammates in the best position possible. And then just rebounds are huge.
Luke, you'd never be able to tell by the audio of this that we're talking to the daughter of 2 coaches, would you?
No, right? She doesn't know basketball at all.
Very articulate about the process and things like that. Well, yeah, and you mentioned that freshman year, and that was probably a good way to break into your basketball career with all of those. That was a heavy senior laden team. And then I still remember that game against Class and SAS where they eliminated us. But that was, I lived it with y'all, I promise. But the thing about it is this squad this year. I mean, you're going to come into games and people may look at the record. I mean, I know coaches look at tape, but I know players may or may not necessarily. But I think there's things that you guys can do. I know that regionals, you got to get past Clinton and districts first. You played them last night. You fared pretty well against them. But then also in regionals, it's going to be kind of the familiar foes with Woodward or Elk City. And then you kind of venture in, and Bethany will be on our side of the region. So talk about what you're doing to kind of prepare yourself for this playoff run. I know you're shooting on your break hour.
No. A big thing I kind of told the team about last night and tonight was, or, like playing Clinton, and we knew we were going to see him Saturday. And so that's kind of a mental block of like, oh, we beat him before. Let's just beat him again. And then Saturday. And it was like, we've got to take every game like it's our last. And we're not to that point yet, but it's going to get to a point where, when you go home or you lose, you go home, play every game like it's your last. And then also just reminding them like it's 0-0 now. Like there's like records don't matter. The bracket's in place, and like it's 0-0 at this point. And then also like teams like Woodward and Elk City, we've played them 2 or 3 times already and we've won every time. And so, they're coming in with a chip on their shoulder. And everybody's got something to lose at this point, but then just not putting ourselves on a pedestal, but then also remembering like we should be here. We are the team to beat, like, but there's a reason. And so just keeping that intensity and keeping that standard in practice, not slacking off on the little things, that type of thing. So and the girls are good about that. Like they know, like they want to be there, they want to win. So just keeping a good balanced head, and then strong shoulders, just like reassured in who we are and what we are and how we became that way. So
we mentioned being a coach's kid. How can that give you an advantage over another team's player here in the postseason?
I mean, I've been around it my whole life. I remember my middle school years when it was Ashlyn Sage and Kennedy Price and like that group of girls. And I'd come in after the school day, and I'd sit in on my dad's practice, and I'd watch how they communicated. I watch how they'd finish every rep. He didn't really believe in, or he believed in play to the whistle. And at practices, there usually weren't a whistle. So, there'd be girls wrestling to the death in the side corner by the staircase for a ball. And so, it was just kind of like, that intensity. And I would sit there and watch, and my eyes would just light up. Like, it was just amazing to see those girls out there like that. And I was like, that's what I want to be like. Like, I want a team like that. And so, seeing the standard and then getting like freshman year, stepping into that Weatherford jersey, it was like, I mean, I remember realizing like, oh, there's no more like high school games. Are you going to the high school game tonight? It's like, that's my game. Like those are people going to watch me play, wear that Weatherford jersey. And so, just like, I feel like there's just another layer of pride in it. And then also just knowing, both sides of it. Like before I could drive, I'd be with my dad up there before a game an hour early, and it was just me and him in the gym, or he'd be in his office watching film and I was just shooting on my own or whatever else. And so just knowing all that goes in behind the scenes, and then taking it home with me too. Like we'd come home, watch film, and he'd be like, okay, what should you have done different there? And so now I don't really need somebody over my shoulder telling me, like, what did you need to do different there? I can watch film on my own and be like, shouldn't have done that, should have done this type thing. So definitely I do think I have an edge for sure, but it was a well-deserved, hard-earned edge that I got. It wasn't always rainbows and cupcakes, but definitely worth it in the end for sure.
How much did you jump in on pickup games and things like that with those older girls back in the day?
Back in the day, it probably my mom
3 years ago.
And see, my mom was the middle school coach back then too. And so 6th grade, I'd get to school an hour early because they 7th grade has morning practice. And so sometimes I would hop in there with those. That was, Marley Teasley, Harley Chisholm, Braylee Epp, all of them, and they were good athletes and I looked up to them. And so sometimes I'd hop in there and practice with them. And then, and that was to start the day. And then at the end of the day, I'd go and sit with my dad and watch the high school girls. And so there were times, definitely when I would jump in there and practice with them, or just like the high school girls, they'd break off and shoot and I'd rebound with them, or there was an uneven number, I'd hop out there, throw my shoes on and shoot with them. But it was mainly just watching and learning, admiring, just listening to how they'd communicate, like, or like Ashland Sage or Addie Hoffman. I vividly remember there'd be a water break, but they wouldn't go to get water until they made 3 threes or 10 free throws or whatever. And sometimes they wouldn't make it and the water break would be over and they wouldn't get a drink. And that was just, kind of something they set for themselves. And so, yeah.
It's pretty amazing, the standard. And I came in to do Weatherford in the 21-22 season, and that was it was Hunter Bayless's senior year, and then Addie was a senior that year, but she got granted another half year because of a medical. Jordan was a junior, Kennedy was a junior, and I tell you, it was a lot of fun. And then after that season, and then the season where we missed out on state, I remember the next season thinking, okay, well, I think Amarai Music had maybe already transferred out, but we had we had, Marley Teasley, Brayley Epp, Shyla Navarre, and then Harley Chisholm. Harley focuses on softball. You moved to Duncan, and then, we had 3 seniors last year on.
And Reese hadn't moved yet. Never mind.
Reese, she played one season, I think, with Coach Greg Pratt the one season he did. And then we had Brindley Glassy that year. And that was another player that I looked and wish she would have had I wish she would have had a medical red shirt or something to play on, because she really developed a lot in her senior year. But having said that, we've got you back. And now, looking forward to this playoff run. And then also, are you planning on playing soccer this spring?
No, I'm not. When I was offered from Northwestern and they offered soccer and basketball.
Yeah.
And that got me thinking, but in college, soccer is a spring sport, not like fall in high school.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, but I really just want, like, if I'm going to play basketball, I want to give it 100%. And it would really just rub me the wrong way to get out to basketball late and just feel like I'm missing out or whatever. So I think I'll just focus on basketball, which I'm excited.
Well, we'd love to have had you there on the pitch for Weatherford Eagles, but I understand. And talk about your signing with SWOSU and your relationship with the head coach, Jeff Zinn, and what kind of led you to this decision.
Wait, did you mean soccer, like high school soccer?
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I meant, were you going to play high school soccer for Weatherford?
Yeah, I thought you meant SWOSU. Sorry.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm playing soccer in high school last season. Yeah.
I think you had told me, or maybe your mom told me, that you weren't going to try to play for Coach Pearson.
Yeah, but, no. Just basketball.
You will be in Eagle soccer gear this spring.
Yes, had pictures today. Yes.
Good clarification.
Yeah, I'll be out there.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Well, go ahead and with that question I asked you, talk about Coach Zinn and how the recruitment went and what led to your decision to sign with SWOSU.
Well, when I was here before, like, always went to SWOSU games. I just had so many older role models from, a year older to 4 years older to 10, and just looking up to them. And I just love that gym, and then I went down to Duncan, and I had always kind of had it in my mind, that was a dream of mine. And then, the parents say, oh, we're going back. And I was like, you know what? Like, kind of feels like God is placing that, like, kind of right in my lap type thing. And I've always liked Coach Zinn and, like, the way that he coached. And then Libby Zinn, his daughter, ended up being our assistant coach this year.
Yeah.
And like I said, that was kind of just like, it was like God just like placing all my ducks in a row. Like, all I had to do was just like go get them or whatever. And so that was a big success for me, I think, just because, like, that's her dad, she's in his ear. And that was an edge that I had, her getting to, see me day in and day out, see the player and person I am, my leadership, my dedication, whatever. So I feel like I kind of got a behind the scenes advantage there.
Yeah.
But Coach Zinn had also seen me play in the summertime, because the other SWOSU commit, the only other freshman, Kelby Beller, I don't know if you know her, but she's from Washington, and she's going to be the only other freshman. Yeah. Really successful basketball team down there. And we played together this past summer on Team Oklahoma. And so, and he was actively recruiting her. And so, most of our games, he was watching her, but, I was right there with her, and I'd go up and shake his hand after every game, say, thanks for coming. What do you think I need to work on type thing? Coach's kid question, but, it's a Sunday school question type thing, but, it needs to be asked. And so, like I said, just kind of God just like, one after another, like just placing me in his eyesight. And then, the opportunities finally came along, and then also, like academically, like, that put me in a good position too, like having a good GPA and a good ACT score type thing, like stuff like that, just made me a eligible, recruit. So
What do you plan on majoring in?
I want to be a dental hygienist. So
Okay.
I was thinking biology, and then I went and talked to a academic advisor, and he said allied health is the way to go for athletes. Less labs. So
Okay.
I'll major in allied health, get a bachelor's in that or an associate's, either one, and then go to dental hygiene school.
Yeah, Luke, that's one thing about last time GAC soccer championships for women were in Weatherford. I was calling it, and there were 2 or 3 girls that had like practicums and had to rush from their practicum and get warmed up in 5 minutes. So that's the task that athletes at SWOSU have. But also, and I'll get to your question in just a second, Luke, but we want to congratulate you, Dasia, on being the Oklahoma Coaches Association Region 1 Female Scholar Athlete of the Year, and that is as big as anything you can achieve on the hardwood.
Yeah, that was see, I remember Coach Hayward, she had called me in that day, asking me about my different achievements and stuff, like ACT score, GPA, stuff like that. And I was like, can I ask like what this is for? And she was like, oh, we've got our meeting. And I didn't even know that was a thing. Like that was a great surprise, great honor that I didn't even realize was an option. So yeah, that was awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You mentioned the Pioneer Event Center sticking out to you your freshman year. What else about Coach Zen, the team, SWOSU? What else do you like about SWOSU?
Well, even volleyball season, a lot of our team bondings were just going to watch the SWOSU volleyball team play. You learn, you have fun, like just so much you get so much out of watching those girls, women. And I'd look to my right, and the whole SWOSU girls basketball team was just sitting there front row, cheering those girls on like as hard as they could. And I, between sets, timeouts, whatever, I'd look over, and I mean, they're just having the time of their life, joking around, all this stuff. And I would just look at it and be like I want to be a part of that, like that. Like I want that to be my team. I want to be down there next year. And so it wasn't even the things on the court that they did that like attracted me fully. And then like, I went to those elite camps, college elite camps, things like that. And the girls, I went to probably like tens and tens of different ones over the years and stuff. But she at SWOSU, like almost every single player was there for those camps. And at the other ones, you'd get maybe 2 or 3 girls from the team that would show up and kind of rebound for you or talk to you or whatever. I mean, SWOSU had almost every single player, and they were there interacting with you. They were asking you questions. They were answering your questions. They were encouraging the whole time. And it was just kind of one of those things where you just feel like, you know what, these people like genuinely want the best for me. And even if that's not me going here, like they still want the best for me or whatever. So there were a lot of different things that factored into like, that feels like home type thing. Definitely the culture, strong culture for sure.
And that's what I was going to say. I think sometimes covering SWOSU, and Luke and I are kind of score driven, and you see some of the scores and maybe an up and down season, but the culture here in the last couple of years with some of the hires and some of the students that they've recruited has really seemed to amp up a little bit from what I can tell, from a bystander. But we're looking forward to seeing you on the hilltop, and it'll be a lot of fun having you in SWOSU powder blue out there on the court at the Pioneer Event Center. But also, like I said, I'm looking forward to your senior season in soccer, and I think this is a team for Weatherford girls that can be loaded up and probably have another shot at it, and it'd be 4 years in a row, really, that they would be a contender, and that's really saying something.
Oh yeah, we're going all the way for sure. But yeah, and and that's the thing, like signing today, everybody's like, oh, are you so excited to get there? Like, I'm ecstatic, but you know what? Job's not finished here in Weatherford Red yet. And then, you still got soccer season left. But yeah, like you said, like freshman year came up short to Classen, and then I don't know if you know, but last year came up short to Classen again, area consolation
Oh
championship.
yeah, I think I do remember that. You
I mean, let me
yeah,
get a box of tissues. It was awful. I mean,
yeah,
that just gut wrenching. And so I'm tired of getting robbed
yeah.
out of state big house no more. But
Well, that
uh
your freshman year, Skylar Durley, I think, was their standout player. And I went to college with her dad at Oklahoma State University, reached out to him after during before the game, and then was going to have him on because he was a former collegiate player. And after my call of them stampeding Jordan Hoffman after they're celebrating, he didn't want to come on my show. So, but I'm glad I didn't have him on if they eliminated you guys last year too.
oh yeah, it was awful.
Anyway, but yeah, your dad texted me, I think last year during the state tournament, and I'd thrown your name out or given you a shout out about something, and he texted me, and I said, well, we miss you guys. And then didn't seem like it was very long after that we found out that you guys were coming
Maybe
back.
it was you that pushed him over the edge.
I generally take credit for most things. So well, listen, Dasia, thank you so much for taking time to visit with us. It's been so amazing to get to catch up with you in earnest here and on the program. And man, we are so happy you're staying on the hilltop and so happy you're playing soccer. Luke, you got anything else for Dasia Givens?
I don't know if I can add anything to the soccer conversation. I don't know much about that sport.
You better get prepped because someday I'll step away and it'll be heavy on your head.
I know. I do know goals. I know that. So if I show up to a game, you'll have to put on a show.
Okay, for sure. Sounds good.
I forget what I called your shot against Clinton. Did I call it oh gosh, I'll have to go back and look.
I can hear the video. I know. Now I'm gonna have to go
I had
back
a
and watch
great
the video.
call. I mean, that was one of my proudest calls because I think I called it. I steal from a lot of the British.
Both hands up too, and it was a whole thing. Yeah,
I steal from a lot of the British announcers, so I'm sure I kind of tried to go there because I even referred to Brayley Epp last year as cheeky. Anyways, but Dasia, thank you so much. Tell your mom and dad we said hi, and it's so glad to have you guys back in Dubtown, and we'll look forward to a long, extended basketball playoff run for the Weatherford Lady Eagles.
Absolutely.
Oh, real quick, Coach Hayworth, what's your relationship been like with her and Coach Pond and Coach Zen this season coming back?
Oh, well, Coach Pond, we go way back, and she's just so mature in her basketball knowledge, just so wise, so nice to have over there. And then Coach Zen, she was a nice breath of fresh air. She's not much older than we are, and so kind of having that young relationship, kind of banter back and forth. She's really been our hype man, especially in that kind of run of losses there. She was there to pick us right back up and dust us off and be like, no, you guys are good. And she's got a lot of wisdom from being a player, like a lot of player wisdom. And then Coach Hayworth, this is just her second year being a head coach, but she does a good job of having a good time with us and working with us, and like we're all learning no matter how long you've been around it. And so it's been a joy getting to play for her. And at first, it was an adjustment. I played for my dad the past 3 years, and they're very different people, even much less coaches. And so it was good for me to adjust, and I hope she's enjoyed having me back. And so it's been good all around.
I think everybody associated with Weatherford basketball has enjoyed having you back. So
it's great to be here.
Wouldn't have any self-doubt about that. All right. Well, let's let you get out of here. Dasia, thank you so much for joining us here on Western Oklahoma Sports Night. Look forward to Saturday when we start the playoff run, and best of luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. She is Dasia Givens. She is a point forward, I call her, Luke, on the Weatherford Lady Eagles. Just she can guard down in the post. She can bring the ball down. She can. She's been warming up from outside too. So it's good to see her get her thing going here with the playoff run. And man, I tell you, 4A gets started with districts on Saturday, and you got started last night. Tell us about Hydro Eakley boys and girls last night in their regionals.
Regionals got started last night for both Hydro Eakley teams. Both teams had to match up with Canute. The Canute girls team is the second team in Class A. They are very, very, very good. be shocked if the Canute girls are not playing for a state title here in a couple of weeks. The girls game, Canute won at 60-22. Then the boys game was very, very intense. Canute and Hydro, their games are always intense. Definitely a little rivalry there between Canute and Hydro, and last night was no different. It was very intense, a little chippiness going on, but it's the playoffs. That's what you want, right?
Yeah.
But Canute won that one 62-51. So both Hydro teams now in the consolation bracket awaiting winners on Thursday.
Okay. Well, and so, it was, it's funny because in districts, and the way it's kind of panning out, and I heard you talking about this morning with John Matthews, I think it was, maybe it was yesterday, but if they wanted to ever make districts single elimination, you would trim down on a lot of consolation brackets in regionals, but I don't know that you improve the playoffs any. I mean, but I know I heard some criticism from a Texas person one time on social media. It's like, so somebody could lose in their opener in the playoffs and win state. Well, that's never happened.
Yeah, I'd like to show me the example.
Yeah, you win. If you lose in districts, you're going to have a really hard time. And I don't know anybody that's put together a run like that. But it is odd when you think about it that you play a team that you're hosting districts. You're pretty well picked over them, and there might have been some instances this last weekend of some teams that
I know the Corn Bible girls went on the road and they won their district title.
There you go. Yeah. So that's kind of the case too. But Hydro Eakley, I got to say, for them and for Thomas and some other squads, it's tough to be lumped into that regional with Canute.
Yeah, you got Canute and Ellick's a tough team as well on the girls' side. Yeah. Thomas is a good team on the girls' side. It's a tough regional, no doubt. And Canute, like you said, Thomas and Hydro, just a tough geographical draw with Canute being in the area.
Yeah. Well, and it's just always a situation to me where you're going to have a tough go. I mean, it's kind of like Weatherford girls. They got a win over Elk City last year in the regional first round. Then you go to Kingfisher and you have to face a team that you've already faced 2-3 times in the season and fell to. I almost wish that our Weatherford's girls and boys were in a region that didn't have Elk City, Clinton, and Woodward in it. I mean, just because of that fact, if the boys win against Clinton and go to the district semifinal or the regional semifinal, and if chalk, I guess we talk about chalk. If chalk holds, it would be Weatherford and Woodward in the regional semifinals for the 5th time this season in boys action. And if it's the girls in the same situation, which Elk City girls might be favored against Woodward girls, but it'd be the 3rd matchup against Elk City for the Weatherford girls, and it would be the 4th matchup if Woodward were in that spot.
Yeah, especially when you play a maximum of 32 games in a year. That's if you go all the way to state, and playing the same team 4 or 5 times. That's wild. Canute and Hydro boys last night, that was their 3rd matchup, and Hydro and Thomas have a chance to meet in the regional consolation, and it would be the 3rd time that they met.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you mentioned last night 60-22, the Canute girls, and we said this last week with Max Patton on the show. The Canute girls are probably going to be pretty unstoppable. So, what you have to do from there is figure out a way to get into area consolation, and try to make your hay there. The last 2 seasons in 4A, the Weatherford girls have been, just on the cusp of playing on a Saturday in an area consolation championship, and that's a big step, but I look at it, and I'll say this, Luke, I've been spoiled because Weatherford boys, they have not lost the regional championships in 5 years.
That's a pretty good run.
Yeah. So 22, 23, 24, 25, they won regionals. And then all but one of those seasons they won area championships as well. So just 3 straight area championships for the Weatherford boys, and then 4 straight regional championships, I believe. And they'll have a tough one this year. And so looking at Thomas, and they had to go to Southwest Covenant last night, and
Yes.
boys, that Southwest Covenant team, they had a lot of height as opposed compared to what Thomas kind of had out there, but
Yeah.
Thomas was hanging with them. And then, to me, I just look at it, and so much of Thomas's game, just from the games I've seen, kind of depends on how they're shooting from outside. And if they're warm from outside, they can really give you a tough one. 58-48 was the final, and that's really not indicative of how close it was late.
Yeah. I talked to Mike Smith today, who was on the call for that one, and he said that Thomas was able to get it down to 4 a couple of times, just not able to get over that 2-possession hump. But they have a couple of guys, Carter and Kason Freimeyer, a set of twins who both can light it up from outside.
Sure.
Little Bird can shoot the ball very well. It's just they got to get hot.
And then Cash Willis also.
Yeah.
And that's where, I know the Bennett kid, he's a big body down low. He's pretty integral to their offensive plan. I tell you what, there was a goaltending that they missed last night, and Coach Elijah Zoski, he's generally pretty laid back, pretty reserved. He about lost his eggs last night. I mean, he was so mad. He got a warning from the official, and it's anybody else, it probably would have been a technical, because he is a very good sportsman, but he was really livid, and they just blew the call, and it was one that would have cut the lead, I think, to 2, off of a full court press, and kid just goes up and it hits the backboard, and then he swats it away, and it's like, that is plain as day goaltending, and you missed it. But anyways, looking at the brackets, and the boys, they'll take on the winner of Snyder and Wayne, as you mentioned, and then also Hydro. Where is Hydro Eakley?
They're just right below Thomas on that.
So they'll take on the winner of Alec and Burns Flat Dale City. I would probably chalk Alec into that one. Would you?
On the girls' side or the boys' side?
Let's see. What am I looking at here?
I think the girls.
The boys.
The boys. Yeah, I'd chalk Alec into it. I don't know. I haven't seen Alec boys play. I have seen Burns Flat boys play, and they knocked off Sentinel, a ranked Sentinel team at the West Central tournament. So,
that's true.
Yeah, Burns Flat might be a gritty team to see in the playoffs.
Okay. So looking at the brackets, there's going to be games tomorrow night, obviously with the
tomorrow's Thursday.
So that's an interesting twist. So anyway,
I don't like the new setup.
It's not the optimum, is it?
No, it's a weird.
Yep. So
weird way to get to the end of it.
Friday, you will await the winner of Southwest Covenant and Burns Flat Dale City on the girls' side, and Hydro Eakley, like you said, could end up playing in that winner in that regional consolation championship. What do you know about the upper half of the area, Luke?
A bunch of teams from Eastern Oklahoma. I really don't know much about it. There's got to be a couple of ranked teams in there, but yeah, to be honest, I'm not too sure.
Afton is way up in northeastern Oklahoma. I mean, it's.
I have been there one time.
It's up there towards Grove and Veneta and all that, and that is a really long ways. But the area is at Enid, so it's just kind of a straight shot. And I think you'll like that Stride Bank Center if you can get a team into the area tournament as well. But and then looking at the 2A, Luke, and before we do that, let's take a look at the Class B2, and this is on the girls' side, as you mentioned. Corn Bible Academy lost to Visai in districts, but then they beat they're waiting the winner of Aileen, Cleo, and Goodwell in that one on the girls' side, looks like. And then that one, I don't know about, I know Visai boys, but you've got Leedy and Buffalo on one championship, and then Chattanooga and Arnett, that's another mileage deal. It's like, wow, but they're playing at Eric, so I guess that's not a bad deal.
Yeah, I know both of the leading teams are tough. We saw Hydro played them earlier in the year. Another team I wouldn't want to see in the playoffs. I appreciate your help on the pronunciation earlier in the week.
Sasakwa.
Yeah,
I heard you.
I had no clue. I was walking around the station the day before asking people, "Have you ever heard of this town? Have you ever heard of this town?" And finally, Chuck got me the pronunciation.
That's what I do. Well, and I was telling my wife the other day about Ellick, and
Yeah,
I had learned that from Friday Night Finals, and luckily when I worked at Friday Night Finals, there were guys there that had been there for a while, and they get you squared away quickly on Ellick and Sasakwa, Mountain View, Godibo, all kinds of different ones. Is it Eric or Eric?
I've heard Eric from locals.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Locales. I've heard Eric.
Yep. Wright Media's got 2A playoff basketball coming up this week, as well as districts start on Thursday, tomorrow night, for the Sayre Eagles as they travel to Hobart. And then also you've got Watonga in districts at Cashin, Merritt, not on our network, but they are hosting Oklahoma Christian Academy on the girls' side or boys' side. And then the girls, I think that should be the same. Yeah, it's the same thing there. But, I know Max will be ready. I think, haven't they already played Hobart this season?
Like first game of the year.
That's what I thought.
Look today, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, but that'll be awaiting. And then, like I said, Weatherford and Clinton square off in districts on Saturday. I got a text today asking me if they had moved it to Friday, and I did not see that anywhere, but we'll keep our eye out just in case, but I don't know why they would. But so far scheduled for 6 o'clock Saturday for district playoffs at the Eagles Nest in Weatherford. And like I said, Luke, it's, that area 1 for Class 4A boys and girls. The boys have Cassia Hall and Weatherford on that side, as well as Bethany, and I think Inola is the other ranked team from the East. But then on the girls' side, Lincoln Christian, the defending state champion in Class 4A, and then also Bethany. And I'm actually not sure of the other powerhouse on the girls' side from the East side in 4A, but it's going to be a Donnybrook. I'll just say that. And I'll say this, Dasia Givens, our guest earlier on the program, she's brought a physicality to the Weatherford Lady Eagles that I don't know that they would have had without her. And they beat people up on the boards, and it's what's kept them, really with an advantage over a lot of teams and kept them competitive with a lot of teams. But they do well on the boards. They don't get out rebounded very often, and then they play tough physical defense. And you're gonna, and that's essential, Luke, when you're undersized compared to some of these teams.
When you're undersized, and like Dasia said earlier, playing in one of the toughest classes in 4A, you have to bring that type of mentality, or you're going to get walked out of the gym every night.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so it'll be fun, but we'll get started on that. And then you've got SWOSU basketball tomorrow night at the Pioneer Event Center. Who are they? I forget.
Arkansas Monticello.
Arkansas Monticello. So over under on block shots for Landry Allen. I'll set it at 7. What do you think? Over or the under?
I'll take the over on that one, considering UAM beat them the last time they played.
Oh yeah, so she's gonna be fired up. And then how'd the men fare against Monticello? They won on the road there, didn't they?
I think both teams should come away with some wins tomorrow night. Both teams need them. They are towards the bottom. They're like 8th. They're in the tournament, but they need some security. So they're both looking for wins.
Yeah, and then man, it was tough that the men dropped that one to Oklahoma Baptist over the weekend. That would have been a big win. And then also the girls, they dropped that one to Southern Nazarene over last week, and I think it was, and
that was Thursday, I think.
Those would be ones that you just look at, it's like, man, it would have been nice to have snagged those two.
Definitely, especially when you win the first game in the series. You have more confidence that you should be able to win the second, and those losses are tough for sure.
For sure. All right. So anything else that we are missing out on the horizon? I know I mentioned that Dasia Givens was the Oklahoma Coaches Association Scholar Athlete Region 1
Taylor
of the year.
Sauceman,
Yeah.
the head
Oh, he was
football coach at Woodford, he's the region football coach of the year.
Coach of the year.
Arapahoe Butler softball coach Luke Thompson was the Region 1 softball coach of the year. Merritt's Cody Calloway, cross country coach of the year. Not sure the region, 4 or 5, I think. But there was some couple coach of the years in Western Oklahoma.
Yeah, for sure. And some great coaches. Speaking of Coach Sauceman and the Weatherford football squad, the kid that was the quarterback for Broken Bow, who eliminated Weatherford in the Class 4A playoffs, Graydon Howell, he went off for 58 the other night against Ada.
Wow.
And they won in overtime. And I'm gonna say, and I know you've got a Pistol Pete there on your hat, I hope he doesn't make a mistake and go to Stillwater, because he needs to go.
It'd be his best decision.
Well,
is he going for football or basketball?
I think he's going to be a football player. I mean, he's now, whether or not he'll be a quarterback at the next level is probably he's got a good arm, but his physicals are probably undersized for a quarterback. But shoot, we had Diego Pavia out there last year, 5'9". So you obviously
did you see that he went to the pro day and came up 2 inches short? That's so funny.
Exactly. They've been listing at what, 6 foot, 5'11" all season.
Yeah,
5'9".
It's really good.
Did you do the coaches show this week?
I did not. It was Mike. He had 2 head coaches for basketball, Jeff Zinn and Brett Weiberg.
All right. Well, I tell you, we could almost do a follow-up on all of this with everything going on. We do Wednesday nights because generally that's the night there's no games, and you and I can both be gone at games. But man, there's so much going on beginning tomorrow and then through the weekend that I don't know. I hate to say we need to expedite the hate to say we need to expedite the next show, but there could be some teams eliminated by the time we get to air next Wednesday.
That's no doubt. Several teams, I don't want to say up on the chopping block, but that's what it is. You got one loss. It's you're playing for your basketball life here this week. So, but that's, I think, when teams play their best, when their backs are against the wall and they're forced to play their best. So I'm excited for this weekend.
Yeah, and we would love to see any of the teams on the network get into the big dance, and what are they calling that OG&E Arena this year? It's not the Big House. They don't call it the Big House anymore, do they?
I don't think they can call it the Big House. I think that'd just be not right. But I think it might take a couple of years to get a nickname. I don't think when they built the Jim Norick Arena, it was the Big House right off the bat.
Till they noticed how many prisoners come in there for concerts, and I don't know. I don't know if you've heard me, and I don't know if we've talked about this, but I despise the Big House. I was not a fan. Did not reminisce. I don't have long memories for it.
You had bad memories.
Oklahoma City, it was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably had several not so good memories of getting called out to the fairgrounds.
We used to call it the arena bong, and it was so nasty. And I think I told Chad last year, I said, they could probably scrape the THC off of that asbestos insulation at the top and sell it for about an $8 million street value if they wanted to. There's so much resin in that mess, but I always thought it was a dump. I never wax romantically or reminisce about that arena.
I didn't play basketball in high school, so my biggest memories from the Big House are going there for OIE, showing pigs.
Oh yeah.
And that was something we looked forward to. You worked forward towards, just like the Big House. That was the end of the year trip, was going to Oklahoma City for OIE. My best memory at the Big House, though, my dad works for CSTK. If you're on I-40 passing Morgan Road, it's right there on your right. They sell.
They're going to put the Buc-ee's. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, they sell horse trailers and refrigeration units and stuff. So they set up at OIE, and one of the salesmen one year takes us on this little trip, and he's going down doors and hallways and turning on lights like he's owns the place. And finally we come up to this little cutout, or this little half of a door, this little wood panel, and he swings it open. It's like waist high, and you're looking onto the catwalk behind the buck and shoots where they used to buck out the NFR.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could see the old wood and everything. It was really, really cool. And then we went back out and you could tell where they just concreted over. That's something that I'll always remember when I think about the big house for sure.
Yeah. And, I won't lie. I mean, I called 3 state finals there, and then one that we won. And then so even the year before we were in the semifinals. And, it's as much as anything, it's just the fact that you're at state. I always thought I'd rather be at the Lloyd Noble, but that's not the case. But I'm sure they will take into account a lot of the things that they had with the former arena in the new one and try to implement that. But, that's if Governor Stitt doesn't ban the OSSAA and see what they do. But, I forgot to ask you or mention you've got SWOSU softball on the road at Harding and Searcy, and then the K-State Rodeo starts up tomorrow in Manhattan, Kansas, and SWOSU Rodeo, I'm sure, is really looking at having a big year.
No doubt. The SWOSU Rodeo team, especially the women's team, I looked at it today. They have a 600-plus point lead on second place in the Central Plains standings. They are, I don't want to say running away with it because there's still a couple rodeos to go, but they are, they are getting ready for nationals, no doubt. They have a couple of rodeos, and then in April is the SWOSU Rodeo.
Yeah, it will be.
So, no,
it'll be huge.
Definitely excited for SWOSU Rodeo in this season.
I think our good friend Creek Williams from Weatherford High and Garden City, I think, will probably be back for that. And then so tomorrow night, you mentioned basketball at the Pioneer Event Center, Arkansas Monticello in town. And then Saturday, tip off at 1 p.m. for the women as Southern Arkansas, the Mule Riders and Lady Mule Riders, come to town for men's and women action. And then also baseball is in town this weekend for their series against Harding. So, it's a full slate. I know you're hopping and busy, but I sure appreciate you taking time coming on here.
No doubt. I appreciate you having me.
All right. Well, let's start to make our way out of here. He's Luke Clement. He's the sports director for Wright Media and Wright Radio, and you can hear him every morning on 99.3 KCLI News Talk at 7:40, and then at 7:50 he's on 95.5 The Coyote with Val DeGal and John Matthews giving you the daily sports. And then also, if you miss it, be sure and follow 97.3 The Score on social media and get the link and subscribe to the Western Oklahoma Daily Sports Podcast. A little different, and we may have to do some name changing eventually, not to step on your feet, but hey, if people find you looking for us and people find us looking for that, win-win.
Right? It works. Both of us get to listen.
All right, Luke, thanks so much for jumping on here with me, bud.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Looking forward to next time.
Definitely. Luke Clement, sports director at Wright Media. We want to thank Dasia Givens from Weatherford Lady Eagle basketball and future Southwestern Oklahoma State University basketball commit. Thank you for her time coming on. Be sure and subscribe to our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter X pages at Lawdog Sports. We'll talk to you real soon.